So, as Bob said, this is a track that has been knocking around for quite a while.
Yeah.
And we thought if we look at some of the sounds and the things that are on the
sort of component parts of it,
and show you how they sort of came about and what they are. So, if I actually play the track as it stands, a little bit of the track as it stands now, starting with this main idea that I think was the initial sort of thing that we loved. So if I play a little bit of this.
The thing that we've been working on quite a lot with this is how different the track can sound with or without one element. Say, for example, we've been fiddling with the drums for quite a long time, and it radically changes the track depending on what drums we put in, and we've been struggling with that a bit. So what we're going to show you is what it sounds like with and without different drum patterns to show you the difference.
So we've got sort of various components that, if I wind the track on a bit, you see how it evolves into this slightly almost a rock track in a way.
Yeah.
But and we were maybe wanting to take it slightly away from that. So this is where there's the section that sounds a bit rocky.
Much more sort of actually having said what I said about the verse chorus, this is one of the more conventional ones comparatively. But I think we need, and it's a very subjective thing to say what makes it more contemporary, or there's a whole variety of things. It might even be that taking out some of the guitars. I mean, for example, the acoustic guitar, taking out some of the sounds, making it very much more minimal in a way, having less background can actually make it more prevalent. So I don't know if it's worth trying that actually. Just to
thing. So there was that original sound that was probably the
starting point.
Yeah, this thing, as I said, and there is a sort of going through. There's a bass that comes in that's I think derived from a just a bass guitar sample. I think a played. It's a MIDI track, as you can see on here. So it's just an actual played MIDI part, which isn't that exciting there. I think it gets going a little bit more here. Oh, no, it's not. How interesting. It goes. So it's just. But in the track, it seems to take on quite a nice sort of full sound. But this, so basically a played MIDI bass. We've got some strummed acoustic guitar, as we were talking about, that we've taken, and it's two parts, two performances. They're actual real people playing those, panned left and right to give you a nice sort of stereo feel. And there's another sort of distorted guitar riff that comes in underneath those. That's quite nice. That's originally a I think it's another acoustic, but we've affected it with various plugins, amp plugins and distortion plugins and the like. And then various other pads and ambient
noises.
Ambient noises. So yes, which we can sort of, as Bob was saying, I think some of the thing about this track is maybe it's got too much in filling all the gaps, and not sounding as sort of drawing you in. There's so much; it's almost like a wall of noise, which is a bit of a rock thing, I suppose.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because this is where mixing seems to have changed. We've been adding and adding and adding, and I think often sometimes learning what to not have in is just as important as to what to have in.
So maybe how should we?
For example, it'd be just interesting to hear, just for example, how different the tracks would sound if it was just the acoustic guitar, the electric guitar, and the drums and the bass, just for example, without all the peripheral sounds, and to show you what it would sound like perhaps if you played it as a band.